And welcome back to the Mind and the Meanie podcast. As you know, we usually don't do guests, only on special occasions, and this occasion is pretty special. Our guest right now is a fellow I come to know through the wonders of the internet. He's viral, as the kids say. And a very special person, very inspirational. And I'm so happy to have him here. Giovanni Hamilton. Hello, Gio.
Hi.
How you doing, buddy?
Welcome to the Mind of the Meanie.
So, oh no, sorry, I stepped all over your words, buddy. Like I said, this is going to be the most unprofessional thing you've ever done.
He was thanking you for having him, and you just stepped all over. No, we are so excited. You know, when Meanie said, I think maybe we could get Giovanni on the show, and I was like, you think so? Really? Like, I was excited for this because, obviously you and Meanie, you guys are best buds and been hanging for a long time now. But I've been watching your stuff. I see your stuff on social media. As somebody who does interviews, I am so impressed. There is no way at your age, and that's pretending that at my age now, I'm even on your level, but there is no way at 13, I was going, like, your interviews are really, really good. Meanie, I hope I didn't step on your toes now, but I kind of was just so excited to be able to finally talk to you. I wanted to ask, how do you put your questions together? Where do you come up with them? Do you have kind of your go-tos that you're always going to ask? Or you are such a student of the game, as they say, when it comes to Philly sports especially, but sports as a whole. How do you come up with the interview questions?
So me and my mom sit there for a good hour and a half, and we just research the person that I'm having on, and then we kind of think of questions from what we've researched, like where they went to college, how many years they've been doing what they're doing, just all that stuff. And then we usually ask like if they have any funny stories from what they've done. And that's probably the best part.
Yeah. That's awesome. The preparation to, a lot of people aren't willing to sit down for the length of a show, even just to prepare for the show. So that's awesome that you do that. Really impressed.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, man. Dude, you're killing it with the Sports Talk with Giovanni podcast, and I've been grateful to be a guest on your show twice so far. Yeah. And I was like, man, I feel bad. It's like Giovanni's had me on twice. Giovanni on Mind of the Meanie. And, you're a special kid, man. Definitely. Cause when I was 13, I wish I was that into sports. I was like into pro wrestling. You're watching Josh, Gio watches like the game films, like the game tapes and all that stuff. He studies it.
Unbelievable.
Gio, you said you wanted your goal is to be a coach in NFL. How do you feel? Like, are you preparing now with all the footage and game tape and all that stuff that you're watching now and establishing relationships through your podcast?
Yeah. After every game, I think it's usually the day after, I'll be watching all 22 while I'm doing schoolwork. And that really helps me know more about the game. And when it comes to relationships, that's a big thing. And I think my biggest relationship right now that I have is Coach Franklin at Penn State. I think that he can help me a lot in my future.
That's awesome. I just, again, I'm like, I don't want to just sound redundant here, but I'm so impressed with at 13 years old. Like, I was at 13 years old, I was not thinking of like, you know what I need to be doing? I need to be networking. to try and build my future so that I can secure my career when I grow up. Like, you are so ahead of the curve on your future. And then the best part is you have all these people who are like, your goal is, in a way, what you do now is the goal for a lot of people when they finish doing what you want to do later. Like, there's so many athletes and coaches that when they wrap it up, when their career is over, they go into podcasting. They say, okay, what's next? Well, I can talk about it. I've got this wealth of knowledge. You're coming in almost the opposite direction, where you're this successful podcaster at 13 with this huge wealth of knowledge, where I feel like it's just a couple of years before, if it hasn't happened already, coaches are going to be giving you a call saying like, hey, don't tell anybody, but Gio, can you, I'm trying to figure out what to do. We got a game coming up, and and you're going to be giving advice. And it's just, I'm just so impressed with everything that you've been able to do.
Thank you.
Of course. Yeah. And I want to say, I have my morning coffee specifically because I knew you were going to be on in my, my Eagles thermos here, which, by the way, is incredible. It keeps, this will be hot for hours, and we sometimes go on for hours on this show. So
we'll spare you the hours.
Yeah. What is,
we know your time is precious. You're into band.
Yeah. What's your timetable usually for your podcast? How long do you usually go?
I usually go, like, with players, 10, 15 minutes. I've gone, I think, Meanie, ours was like an hour.
That feels right.
Yeah. Giovanni normally goes like a half hour, but I don't know when to shut up. So Giovanni's looking at me like, yo, Meanie, come on, man. Gotta wrap this up.
Doing the old pen.
Wrap it up. Yeah. But
oh no, Meanie, go ahead, please.
No, please.
No, I want to know, we talked a little bit about your preparation and everything and the success that you've had. For those who are watching or listening who aren't really that familiar with your story, how did you get it? They might be looking at going, how did he start podcasting, and how is he getting players? Again, like at 13, like I was an enormous Bret Hart fan, as a wrestler. At 13, I was not getting Bret Hart on. I mean, they didn't have podcasts back in my day, but I wasn't getting Bret Hart on any phone call even. So, you want to tell kind of the story of how you got into podcasting? What made you decide that this was something you wanted to do? And how long have you been doing it?
Yeah, so I think I started doing my Facebook and Twitter like 6 years ago, something like that. And then I just started building up like followers and stuff. And then I was like, hey, I think that if I did a podcast, it would be pretty cool. It would be a cool thing to do, a cool hobby, and it's a really cool thing to do in quarantine. That's the main reason why I started it. I needed a hobby because I was getting really bored. But yeah, and then me and my producer Connor, he also does his podcast. We were talking, and he said, "Hey, you can come on here with me, and we can do the podcast, and you can have your own podcast on here. I'll produce your show." And I was like, "That's a great idea." And then it went from there, and I think I've been doing it. I just started at the beginning of the season, so like I think like 5 months, 6 months.
Man,
that's amazing. I was fortunate enough to co-host with Giovanni. Your producer Connor reached out to me and said, "Hey, you want to talk about Eagles football?" And I was like, "Yeah, all right." And he's like, "Giovanni's going to be involved." I was like, "Then absolutely," because I think we're kindred spirits in some ways. But yeah, we did Meanie's Eagles. God, I can't even think today.
Meanie's Eagles recap on Mondays.
He's got you, man.
I know. Yeah. I told you Giovanni way more
purpose. He is running the show here.
Yes.
Remember I talked about coaches calling him? I'm going to be calling him being like, listen, as a producer of a show, I need a little bit of help here.
Welcome to the last edition of Mind of the Meanie. It'll be Mind of Giovanni. No, seriously though, it was fun, man. Doing that show week in and week out with you and you and Connor and Ed would come in and join us. But man, what a season for us to to start a podcast together with the Philadelphia Eagles. But the one bright spot every week with talking about the Eagles was, being able to talk to you about it. And man, when I was 13, I was just like watching, wrestling, watching football, but like I had no idea how to watch it from a different perspective. And I think it's really cool that you do that. You bring you bring positivity to it. Being a Philly sports fan, this podcast is seen all over the world. We're the number 4 podcast in Ireland, by the way. So,
yes.
We
have a T-shirt made.
Yeah. We have a listener in Nicaragua too. So, hello, Coach. He's a coach too, by the way.
Yeah.
But
no, that sounded like a joke, but it's actually true. So we have a great guy.
I'm getting a little long-winded here. I apologize. Giovanni's time's precious, but
we're trying to do a 15-minute podcast here, Meanie.
Yeah, I know. The point I'm trying to get to is Philly fans are known to be negative. All the cliches, we blew Santa, we threw snowballs, whatever they want to make up about us. But Giovanni is the bright light amongst all the Eagles fans. You went viral recently, with Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott, who plays for the Dallas Cowboys. For those outside the U.S. who don't know about American football, the Cowboys and Eagles is a heated rivalry, and Dak is the quarterback for the enemy. But Giovanni was the olive branch. He reached out and wished Dak well, and it just exploded the internet. How was that? How was that experience with just putting out a meaning of wellness to the enemy and then getting some love back?
I didn't even mean for that to go big. I just wanted to say, hey, I hope you're okay. Because I've been through a lot of medical battles and I know how the rehab is going to be. So I was like, he's going to be in rehab for like a year. And I just wanted to make a video. And I was like, I hope you're doing okay. You're going to get through it. I can't wait till you're at full health so we can go at it again. Yeah.
Your positivity is incredible. And that really is, like Meanie said, Philly sports fans, but and I know that you've seen this on Twitter, on social media. There's a lot of negativity, and social media can be a very toxic place. And there you come in, as this, bright green light. You come in there and you're just like, hey, this one got traded to that team, whatever. I'll put their jersey on because I love them, because they're great. Like, you're so positive, and it sounds maybe insincere, but like, I feel like I look at your posts and how can I have a bad day? Like, you're too happy for me to be able to complain about anything that I'm going to complain about. And it's inspiring. It's genuinely inspiring. And, you touched a little bit on, that you've had health issues and stuff. And man, you've gone through things that the biggest, toughest, grown, sports guy or, athlete, whatever, would have just taken them out. And you are not only positive, but you are one tough individual. And, don't ever let anyone tell you you're not, because you are. And I think even more so than the physical toughness of the things you've been through, the fact that you can go through physical pain and still be so positive just shows an emotional toughness and mental toughness. And dude, I'm serious. Honestly, this is, I think, I'm like your biggest fan now. I'm so happy to have you on here. You've put me in a good mood just by being on this show. Meanie normally puts me in just a terrible mood, but no, I'm kidding. But you put me in such a good mood just by being here, man.
Thank you.
Hey, since you brought it up, to give some of our viewers background, I mean, you're 13. You've had 18 surgeries.
18, 19, I think. Yeah, it's one of those. I forgot.
If you can, just give our viewers a little background on what you've been going through, and then what's it like? What do you do mentally just to prepare yourself each time? Because this is where I've fallen in love with you as a human being. When I grew up, and my thing is nowhere near as tough as yours, but I grew up severe asthmatic. As a child, I spent every spring and every fall with the change of seasons in the hospital. The pollen in the air would make it hard for me to breathe. Couldn't play sports. I couldn't play football. I was allergic to the grass. I was allergic to pets. I had to put a bubble over my bed, an oxygen tent. So I spent a lot of time in the hospital, but it was, for, to help me breathe and stuff like that. I mean, you're a warrior, man. You've had like all these surgeries. And like when I would do the woe is me, and stuff like that. But I see you smiling and laughing. You're like, piece of cake. Can you give our viewers like a glimpse into the background of everything you've had to go through?
Well, it is definitely really hard going through this stuff mentally. But you just gotta surround yourself with good people, because there's really no way to get around it. Because with my condition, I have dislocated elbows and a dislocated hip, and I had to have my right hip reconstructed. I had to go through a lot of rehab for that. That took a lot of time for me to be able to walk normally again. But yeah, I've had, I think, 7 or 8 eye surgeries because my muscles in my eyes are, they want to force my eyes closed. And if we didn't have those surgeries, I would have gone blind by now.
Oh, wow, man. Yeah. And yet here you are, man. You're just a beam of light. And like Josh said, I could be having my worst day and I see your Twitter feed and it just brings me happiness. You talk about surrounding yourself with the right people. Right now you have a new initiative on Twitter, Giovanni's Huddle. Bring us up to speed. Tell the world about that, because I think everybody should be following you for these inspirational messages that you're going to be doing on Twitter.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I wanted to start the Giovanni Kindness Huddles. It's a initiative where I talk about cyberbullying and in-person bullying and how to deal with it and how to get better and like be good mentally. And I just really wanted to start this because I got cyberbullied a lot once I put on that Colts Carson Wentz jersey. But I didn't let it stop me. I still wear that jersey to this day. And I just want to let other kids know that it's okay to be yourself, and don't let anyone change you.
Dude, that's so awesome. For the folks watching outside America or country don't know, Giovanni has become, the best friend of NFL quarterback Carson Wentz. And, dude, you broke the news that, you brought it up. Carson Wentz, who was with the Philadelphia Eagles, was traded to the Indianapolis Colts. And everybody's like, oh, man, the Colts have a quarterback who has number 11, which is Carson's number. Everybody's like, what's Carson going to do? Mm-hmm. His number's taken. So here comes Giovanni, just casually on Twitter. post a photo. Hey, Colts, thanks for this this nice little jersey you sent me. This nice blue jersey with the number 2 on it. And then Giovanni broke the world like ESPN. Dude, Giovanni's been on ESPN more than anybody I know, more than anybody on this podcast, at least.
That's for sure.
No, but seriously, man, you broke the news. How hard was it to keep that secret? That like you were getting to break the news that Carson's got the new number.
I didn't know. They just sent me the jersey.
That's amazing.
They just sent me the jersey, so I was like, "Wow, I'm just gonna take a picture with this because it's Carson Wentz's jersey." I didn't even know, but then Carson was like, "Oh, I'm so glad that you got to break the news." And I wouldn't have anyone else break the news.
That's amazing.
I was like, "Oh, I didn't even know."
That's amazing.
That's even, you know what? And I think another cool thing is that speaks to the reputation you have, that they would send that to you with no concern of the fact of like, of having to tell you, keep this a secret. Don't do that. Like they looked and they said, hey, we're going to send it to him. If he tells people, that's wonderful. More people are going to know now. Like he's the best person to let people know about this change of number. So that's so cool, man. That's, I mean, for you, I've seen the video and I think most people by now, and if they haven't, you should really Google Giovanni and learn his whole story. But a lot of people were first introduced to you because of that video with Carson Wentz. So on that day, could you have ever imagined that you'd become so close with him?
No. I had no clue that I was even gonna meet him that day. I just went to training camp that day. I was like, hey, today I might get to meet my hero. And then he comes and he goes to my sister, because the way it was set up, there was a line going this way. And then, so I was here. My sister was over here. And then he goes to my sister. And then I just like start crying because I'm like, oh my God, my hero is right in front of me. And then he comes to me and gives me a hug. And it was awesome.
It's an incredible video. If you haven't seen it, go out of your way to see this video. It is, again, it's one of those things like you're as they say, bring a tear to a glass eye. It is just an emotional video in all of the best ways, and such a cool thing that it's gone from that to you now having a friendship with your hero, to you being able to announce, milestone moments of his career to the world. And that's just so cool. I know we've got our Patreon folks here, who we threw it up on the screen a little bit before, such an inspiration, a beam of awesomeness. Like it's everybody who comes in contact with you walks away with a smile. And what does that feel like to you? Because I mean, I know I'm not the first person who has said this to you, who's pointed out to you that, how positive you are and how you make everybody around you, just feel better. What does that mean to you? Like, that's a lot to have somebody tell you. Like, what does that mean to you to know that is the reputation you have?
It makes me want to be more positive, and spread the positivity on and make more people positive, because right now in the world we're going through something that's hard enough. We don't need to be mean to each other.
Man, that's awesome, man. Dude, when I was your age, I kind of went through something similar. My favorite Philadelphia Eagle player was Reggie White. And, and later on with Brian Dawkins, they went on to other teams, and, people are like, oh, they left, you can't cheer them. And I say, that's a bunch of hooey. That's a bunch of crap. You can still be a fan of Carson and still be a fan of the Eagles. when Reggie White left, it devastated me. Devastated. I couldn't eat. It's like, oh man, how could they let him go? So, when Reggie wasn't playing the Eagles, I would cheer for Reggie as long as it didn't affect the Eagles. And I see people get, I have, that's the only standards in life I have, really. But yeah, man, you should be able to cheer for Carson and not get grief for it. You got grief for wearing the Travis Kelce jersey, which to me is ridiculous. Travis is the brother of Jason Kelce, who plays for the Eagles. When the Eagles were in the Super Bowl in 2017 into 18, Travis Kelce came to the link and cheered for the Eagles, cheered for his brother to win the Super Bowl. So it's only go ahead.
I love Travis Kelce because I went on Chris Long's podcast and he had Travis Kelce on, and Travis Kelce was really nice to me. So that's the main reason why I got his jersey.
And that's kind of what I feel like the world should be. At the end of the day, and I'm talking to two people right now who are two of the biggest sports fans I've ever known. But at the end of the day, I mean, it is still a game. Yeah, we have our teams, we have our pride. But, I mean, we might hate the Cowboys, but it's just like, when you watch one of them go down with an injury so bad, I mean, these are just people. We're all just people, like we might have our city rivalries and whatnot, but I think it's ridiculous that anybody would have an issue with you wearing a shirt of somebody who was nice to you. Like, that's how it should be. Someone was nice to you, so you go, oh, I like them. They were nice to me. I'll be nice to them. And it's like, it seems like such a simple thing. And it's incredible that a 13-year-old, and I mean that in the best way, that a 13-year-old gets that. Whereas so many adults, grown adults, do not get that. And so many people... They exit this world having never understood that. And it's, again, that's why we keep saying you're inspiration, but it really is inspiring. And the things that you've gone through, that you've come out of, the strength that you've shown is just, it's absolutely inspiring. But I do want to ask you something, because it's not just all about football with you, or even baseball or anything. You are a wrestling fan too, are you not?
Yes.
So, who is your current favorite wrestler?
Drew McIntyre.
Drew McIntyre. So, I know Meanie is good friends with Drew, and I actually trained with Drew back in 2007, 2008. And when Drew, before he got his American driver's license, I used to drive him around to all of the shows and take him to the airport so he could get to when he first was on SmackDown. So Drew is a really good friend of mine too. And I'm glad I actually got to see him right before the world ended with this. It was already at a point where everybody was Purelling their hands, but didn't know how bad things were. But he came somewhere local and I got to hang out with him for a bit. I know that Drew is inspired by you. Now, we're recording this on a Saturday, night one of WrestleMania. By the time people hear this who aren't on Patreon, it'll be Monday. But Drew McIntyre, is he going to be champion by the time people are hearing this?
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, that's what I think too.
Yeah.
Awesome. And I love the fact, I'm a big Drew McIntyre fan too, unapologetically. Mm-hmm. Sorry, first day with my new mouth. I can't speak. But yeah, and I love that, like, me and Gio text back and forth when Drew's on and stuff like that. But I shared your story with Drew, and he was very inspired by it, man. And we were able to procure you a little message from Drew, and that was so much fun to do, and to see your reaction to it and stuff like that. I know you're going to be rooting him on tonight, and well, actually, he might be night 2. I'm thinking, but
that's why Meanie and I are doing a post show for WrestleMania, because then it's easier to commentate on, because neither of us know we can't keep track. 2 nights, man, that's too much for us. We can't we can't keep track. I know the whole card, but now you're asking me to know which order they come on. Come on, that's a little much. But no, it's yeah, he'll be one of these nights, one of these days. Now he'll be wrestling, and I think he'll be taking that title back. And I know he sincerely wants to have that title when he eventually gets to meet you in person, because he wants to take a picture with you and that belt. So, which is, I mean, at this point for you, I mean, it's just just another huge star who's a fan of yours, so it's another, and that's, what, and you're going to find that when you do eventually meet him. I'm sure you found this a lot of other people. You have these people that are your heroes and they meet you. And have you experienced, has it been kind of weird to find out that you're kind of like a hero to these people that are your heroes?
Yeah. It was really cool, especially with going back to Carson Wentz.
Mm-hmm.
It was really cool with him because I actually did a Zoom with him, his brother, and his wife. And it was really cool because, like, his wife was explaining to me that the videos that I made for him in this past season really helped them get through. And she was getting really emotional because I helped them because they were getting so much hate, and I just made them videos, and they really appreciated it.
That is so cool.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. That's why you're such an inspiration, because your intentions are so pure. When people grow up, they get a little bit curmudgeonly, they get a little grumpy, and the world's against them and stuff like that. And you bring me back to everything's gonna be okay, man. Just any day above ground's a good day. Any day you can put 2 feet on the floor and get ready for the day. That's a good day. That's a win. It's all about, life is about small victories.
Yeah.
Open up your eyes. You won. You get in your chair. You won. You put in the green hair dye. You won. You do your podcast. You won. And dude, you're doing nothing but winning right now. And dude, man, it's such an inspiration. I know it sounds like we're blowing smoke, but it really is, man.
It's really true. Yeah.
Yeah. This whole apocalypse, the pandemic, people are stuck in their houses and people are scared and stuff like that. And then here you are. Hey guys, it's going to be okay. And you're like, you know what? It is going to be okay.
Yeah. You genuinely believe you when you say it. And that's a power that you have. And I don't know if I should even be telling you that you have that power over people, but people listen to you and believe you. And unlike a lot of people you'll see in this world, you get that there's a responsibility with that. And you just come out there and you're positive. Because every time you post a video, a ton of people. It's not like when I post a video and I get 3 likes and I'm like, man, we hit it big today. But you got a lot of people watching your videos, and it sounds like Meanie said, it sounds like we're blowing smoke and we're just making this up to make you feel good, but it's true. I know we're both just very inspired by you, and just appreciate you taking the time to bring some of that inspiration onto Mind of the Meanie as well. Because it's just for us to be able to share that, and to share that we have so many listeners that we really appreciate, so many listeners outside the U.S., as Meanie had mentioned earlier, who might not be familiar with American football or whatnot, who maybe weren't aware of your story. And I'm glad that we're able to help a little bit in spreading the word there as well. But where can people, and I'm not sending you can hang out as long as you want, but I'm just, where can people find you on social media? Because we've talked about it so much. I want to make sure people can actually go and watch you and listen to you.
I'm so bad at this. I always forget. I always forget my handle.
We found the fault. I'm just kidding, buddy. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I think my handle is real SJS Giovanni.
Well, we'll make sure to put it on the screen anyway, so it'll definitely be there. We, for 50-something episodes, I have struggled with remembering Meanie's Pro Wrestling Tees handle. So don't, and I say the same thing every single week, so don't feel bad. It's been going on for a year. So yeah, it's but are you the same social media handle throughout everything? Is it the same, or do you just have so Twitter, Facebook, and all that stuff? It's all the same?
Yeah.
See, that's good. See, Meanie? Just keep it the same
you
on
can,
everything.
You can remember things.
Yeah,
It's like every time we do a show, we try to do like a recap. Oh well, mine and Meanie's in the can, and I had to text him. I'm like, what did we just talk about?
Yeah.
I don't know what we just talked about.
Which is why this episode's very easy. It's just on this week's episode of Mine and Meanie and Josh welcome, Giovanni.
Yeah.
And then that's just, so you're being here again. That's just made our job that much easier.
Yeah,
so,
man.
Much appreciated.
Thank you.
Well, like I said, like I tell our the Mine and the Meanie fans, we call them the Pod Squad. And with the Pod Squad, we say everybody's welcome. We're all inclusive. We try to do a show that's positive as well. And, just we're not like really a wrestling podcast where we're like, talk radio, but like, it's so cool to, to spread your message. Everybody has a backstory, and I think the world should know your backstory. And that's why it was so cool to bring you on. And like I said, you're welcome to come on anytime you want. Not only do you know your football, you know your wrestling as well. And like I said, Mind of the Meanie's our planet, but there's different satellites. We got different things, and we like to say the Giovanni's part of our world, so to speak. So I want to thank you for coming on, and spreading your message of positivity, and bringing a little bit of inspiration to our show that we could share with the world. And you're like a little brother, man. I love you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, thank you for being here. This absolutely made my day, and I think we can say the same for everybody who was listening. So, ladies and gentlemen, Giovanni Hamilton.